Let's bring in Denise Gitsham now, NewsNation political contributor, Republican strategist, and former aide for President George W. Bush. Great to see you, Denise. Thanks for stopping by. Pretty telling, the vice president on his way back from Rome this morning, in some pointed comments on this topic, he said this is not our war and that we're not going to do it anymore if we can't reach a ceasefire. Maybe the strongest words we've heard from anyone in the administration, speaking to the level of weariness here.
Yeah, it feels as though we are, in spite of everything JD Vance may say, we are inextricably involved because we've now signed this deal with Zelenskyy for rare earth minerals. I mean, that was part of the further involvement, not the sort of extraction of America into this war. And, you know, it feels like perhaps his comments are being more directed at other leaders, like EU leaders, and in an encouragement to have them step it up a little more, because I don't see any way, shape, or form that the United States is going to not be involved in what happens in this war moving forward, regardless of the rhetoric. President Trump made it a campaign promise that he was going to end this war much sooner than it has ended, because it hasn't yet. And so his reputation is on the line. Our future, the future, global security, the global balance of power is on the line. And, I think that when we listen to the Trump administration talk, we have to recognize that there are multiple audiences and different actors that are being deployed to speak to those audiences.
So what is the expectation around this conversation that's happening right now? Do we think that anything will likely come out of this phone call?
One thing that I've learned in presidential politics in 20 years of doing it is that the expectations you set are generally the ones that people adhere to. And President Trump has set really high expectations for this call and really risked his reputation as the ultimate deal maker in saying, I'm gonna bring this war to an end, which is a promise he's made to us over and over and hasn't yet come to pass. And so I think the expectations have been set by the Trump administration to say, we're gonna make this stop because we're gonna have enough leverage over Putin. But here's the reality, is that Russia is the most sanctioned country in the world. They have faced sanctions from us and all of our allies, and nothing has stopped them. And while it might be a lot of rhetoric, I mean, they're definitely facing huge economic, headwinds. They've got 10% inflation. I mean, it's unsustainable what they're going through economically. But nothing we do on the stick front seems to work. I mean, so I think what President Trump is going to do, and I think what would be wise to explore, and everyone hates this because no one likes to be nice to a bully, but what are the carrots that we can bring to the table to actually entice them to stop? Because again, as the most sanctioned country in the world, there doesn't seem to be anything else we can do or any of our allies can do to bring this war to an end.
Right. And to that, and a negotiator for the Kremlin implying that Russia can fight as long as it needs to.
Yeah.
So you wonder if this is all for show. But in addition to a ceasefire, what other parameters may be put in place?
Well, if you're just talking about sticks and sort of what we can possibly do, we can pressure, China and a lot of people who don't really love us and actually have been strengthening their ties with Russia, but also UAE and a couple of other countries, I think Turkey, who still export or import a lot of Russian oil, a lot of Russian energy, do a lot of business with Russia. We can pressure those that we think will come along with us to further tighten the sanctions. But again, as the most sanctioned country in the world, I do not see how this is going to work moving forward. And so I do believe that it's going to have to be new players that come to the table because, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting the same results. If we don't mix it up significantly and bring new players to the table that can actually have an effect, a new, more severe impact, negative impact on Russia and its economy, then there will be nothing that we can do to change the trajectory of this war.
All right, Denise, thanks for your input and perspective as always.
Thank you so much, Marnie. Have a great day.
You too. Still ahead, a Mexican